To begin this, could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Minnie. I'm a lead of the Chimpions. Chimpions is a DAO run project, so I was elected into my role. My kind of service there involves a lot of networking and also technical stuff. I'm one of the developers on the team. I handle some of the metadata updates or website updates or different technical matters. Yeah, and I'm a software dev in real life, or I guess in my Web 2 life as well. I live in Minneapolis, and yeah.
All right. So we have the lead of the Chimpions with us now. Can we discuss your journey and a little bit? What were your previous roles before joining the Chimpions as tech lead, and also what were you engaged in before getting into the world of Web3, and when did you make?
Yeah, so let me see. So back in 2021, I guess, is kind of when I started really deep diving into crypto. And of course, probably like most people, I just started with coins, and you start with Bitcoin, and then you kind of go down through you start down the rabbit hole of whatever altcoins you find yourself in. And eventually, just found my way to NFTs late 2021. I really found a home in the Degen Ape community, and I volunteered there for a while. I was on the DAO squad, they call it. One of the kind of whitelist hunters, alpha hunter type networking collab people. I built a little app too for managing mint lists and things. Yeah, so really enjoyed the journey there. I really like, the Degen Ape project. Love the art. But yeah, I've always kind of had this itch since I got into NFTs of like just kind of like knowing that we're early and that not all the cool things about NFTs have really been done, and there's just a lot of areas left to be explored, and that's really interesting to me. And that's kind of what draws me in. Is I want to be there when that stuff gets explored, and I want to help, and I want to help innovate and help come up with the ideas that drive the space forward.
Wow, it's good to know how something that fascinates you and makes you that to explore more, right? So going to the next, can you explain to us about the Chimpions and the projects, and also what are your specialties?
Yeah, so the Chimpions is kind of a legendary project, I think, because throughout our history, we've kind of started a number of metas in the NFT space, I think, or we can kind of claim that. Back when we minted over a year ago, we kind of started the whitelist meta, where, so because we're only our supply is only 222, I actually didn't mint Chimpions. I'm kind of telling the story out of memory, but the Chimpions supply is so low, they basically whitelisted every single one of their mints. So each person kind of knew that they were minting, and it was kind of a big deal. The mint was only 0.22 Sol, and then immediately afterwards, the floor price went to like 200 or something. So it's one of the biggest, immediate 1000x or whatever. So it was a big winner. for those who are lucky enough to mint. And I think a lot of projects after that kind of followed suit. They, saw the success and tried to, copycat a little bit in different, whether it be the pixel art or the way that we did the whitelist or the supply of the project. A lot of things were kind of set by the Chimpions. It was kind of like almost groundbreaking the way it started. And then since then, a number of the different things we've done have been kind of innovative, but kind of overall, the project is, a tight group. It's DAO run, and it's kind of straddles the line between kind of more of being an art-based community and kind of living in the degen world where a lot of the, other generative projects might live, where you're always talking about the next big mint and stuff. We do that too, but we also talk about, everyday life stuff or kind of more in the art side, what kind of artists we like to support the ecosystem through either buying or, whatever to be in the art space too. So basically helping creators and builders, I think, is part of our DNA. So that's kind of the broad picture. I can go into more detail, I guess, later.
All right. I can see why the cheap as how it rhymes, like like a big winner. Okay then. Going over the champion questions. Talking. Why did you choose Z and why choose inspired them?
Yeah, so I actually didn't choose the chimpanzee. I think it might have been just because monkeys are kind of like standard PFPs, and they liked the name, the spin on the word chimpanzee with champions into the Chimpions, and it's kind of a cool brand thing. And I think as far as the pixels go, I know a number of the artists who wanted to be involved at the time. So the original collection has 4 art. I might be getting this wrong. 5 have become, known as one of the better pixel art collections on Solana. I think pixel art's pretty hard to kind of master, and I think Chimpions comes about as close as you can to, getting it right, getting the whole collection cohesive, and the fact that they're all one of ones too is pretty special. So, yeah.
Okay, so that what makes the champion special. You're trying to master pixel art these, right? About your you're talking about your artist, right? But I will ask that later on. Now, I'm actually very interested to see that in your website are types classification of the champions. I want to know what are their actual differences.
In the tribes, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the tribes are just part of the lore. Some of the traits and categories that chimps fall into were just given as a part of some background stories that haven't actually been fully fleshed out yet. Part of the DAO initiatives and kind of the ongoing process of building the project is kind of creating the lore and creating stories for each of the Chimpions. All the Chimpions are so unique and have their own identity, but they do kind of fall into different categories. And I think our website has tribes, and we're actually iterating on the website a little bit to be able to have, there's kind of a little bit of more of a finer categories they fall into as well. So just developing the lore that way. yeah, I guess that's kind of the main things about it.
Okay, then diving deeper into the project, right? What are the specific benefits and also utilities of each?
Yeah, so the main, you talked about the collections there. So we actually do have multiple collections. The main Chimpions collection is the 222 size, all one of one pixel art. That was the original collection, and that's kind of that's the full package. So that's what the holding a Chimpion is, what gets you access to the DAO. It's what gets you access to the full suite of channels in the Discord and voting rights and all kind of the benefits of being a full member. The rest of our collections are what we call are a part of what we call the Together We Stand series, which is a series of editions that we put out. I guess not all of them are editions. Some of them are generative, but they are various supply kind of collections that we did to, they're kind of in, let's see, they all kind of had unique purposes, but the kind of the heart of it was to be standing together with artists and projects and ecosystems. So we named, like, the name is Together We Stand. So we were working through, getting new art out there that is maybe it has utility, maybe it has some kind of lore connection with the partner project. We partnered with Masked Warriors to get kind of some lore-based pieces out, where you kind of had to collect multiple of them to unlock the final piece of the story. We did partnerships with projects like, let's see, I'm pulling it up now, but like Critters Cult was one of the more well-known ones that we did a banner style artwork with them, and the holders of the banner got to it was basically served as a whitelist spot for that mint. That mint was very successful. We did that kind of structure a couple times, but essentially there's just kind of a series of ways that we both rewarded our holders and expanded our IP a little bit to be able to also expand our kind of footprint in the ecosystem, as well as our community. So we also have each of the holding any of the Together We Stand editions also gets you access to our treehouse portion of our Discord, is what we call it, where we have more of an art focus, and we allow people to talk about art, or have different community events that is a little bit different than what is just encompassed by the Chimpions. I think, yeah, that's a good, I think about covers all of it.
They're so big, diverse benefits, and also it's right. So all the you mentioned, see the art of the change, the types of drawing, where people also can see that through the website of Chimp. As we have you as of the Chimpions here right now, can you tell us about your personal favorite of the collection?
Yeah, sure. So I should have changed my PFP actually. My Chimpion is called the Pensive, and I was really drawn to him because he's a thinker. He has a light bulb, and I actually really like the plain monotone ones. Mine's just like mint green, just like chill, thinking, solving problems. But I also really like, there's a number of them that are kind of tech focused, and I really like futuristic looking art, and one of my favorites is actually called The Futurist, and it's got the Solana skin, and it's got some cool details that really make it stand out, make it futuristic. But yeah, they're also, how do you pick? Every time I look at our collection, I feel like I see one that I haven't seen before. That is, yeah. So this is an interesting question because, so I think the question was what kind of FUD we have dealt with, basically. What's the challenges we've overcome? And we've actually gone through quite a bit. Our initial launch was so hyped that not everyone got in. So a lot of people who didn't get in were salty, and they fudded because they weren't, they thought we were an influencer pump and dump project, or whatever the Twitter rumors were at the time. But so going through that, the FUD, and then I wasn't actually a part of the project at that time, so I was on the outside. But once I joined right during the time of when the DAO took over from the initial team, and there was some drama about that we had to go through, and then kind of changing the image of the project from this influencer pump and dump project with a founder who kind of basically isn't in the picture anymore, to a project that's really, DAO run and is more wholesome and, grassroots, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's just it's more of a family project. Like everyone who participates in the DAO is, we're all friends, and we're all trying to get through the bear market together, and have fun in NFTs at the same time. And I think being DAO run is another challenge in itself that we're really trying to constantly figure out. Every 3 months we have a new election of leaders for the DAO, and I think every time new leaders come in, there's new ideas and there's new ways of doing things that we kind of have to adapt to. So we're constantly changing, and we're constantly evolving and working on new things and working together and kind of figuring out the best way that it should go. And I think, not many before NFTs and before, Web3, I don't know how many DAOs there ever was before or whatever, but there isn't a really good blueprint. So yeah, we're all kind of just trying to make it, I guess.
All right. I have this additional question. How do you manage your members in order to not be able to overcome those challenges, and also is there any preventive measures for your members or team?
So I mean, it's still kind of cutting out a little bit, but what I could hear is that you want to talk about the kind of the strategies of how we overcame those things.
Yeah, like how you manage your team to be, you can overcome those challenges.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, a lot of it, I think, is the way that we've kind of got through our challenges has kind of been through the members. Like being a DAO run organization, you kind of fit into the culture that's set by your certain members. And I think our DAO has a number of people who kind of set the tone, set the culture, set the direction at different points in time. And it hasn't always been one person. At different points in time, different people have stepped up, and that's kind of been the defining strategy or the defining momentum at that point in time. And I think it kind of just goes back to all of us being a team. None of us is the team captain. We all kind of have played our roles at different times, and I think really there hasn't been a big gap in momentum. I know our floor price tanked at one point, but we recovered really strong after that with the Together We Stand project, the initiative, and it was just a matter of timing and the people who were there and working through it. And I think some of the things we have adapted is the way that the DAO runs, the way the leadership team runs. We've had to do a little bit of structure around how the voting works, and then also how the code of conduct is for our members, so we can kind of have something to fall back on if somebody gets out of line or things go get weird. But yeah, it's kind of just being a team, working through things as a team. I think our team, everyone has a team attitude. We all want to get through this together, and we want what's best for the Chimpions. So I think that's kind of been the biggest piece.
All right, very nice. I do think that internal, like, very important for the project also. The next question, there's actually quite a lot to go in your way of strategies, right? Given the stages of 2023, what are the objectives of the Chimpions for this year? New projects in. Can you tell us?
Yeah. So 2023 is it started off with a bang. So kind of I touched on a little bit the Together We Stand art initiative that we did last year spawned this new piece of our community called the Treehouse, and I think for 2023 and beyond, we're kind of leaning into the Treehouse, trying to figure out ways to foster growth in the Treehouse, and it's always a balance between growth, rewarding holders, getting people involved, and then also managing our treasury, which is not large, because we don't have cash flow income. So I think a lot of our goals, I think, are spawning out of that idea of working together with the Treehouse, moving forward in a direction that uplifts our members and encourages them, to get involved and to push new ideas, and also then kind of overflow that into what we have with the Treehouse as well. And there isn't much concrete that I can say yet. We have a couple of ideas in process. One of the biggest kind of ongoing trends is always partnerships and collaborations, which we're always working on. We're always in touch with new projects and old projects. We have an exciting collaboration with one of the biggest projects on Solana that will be pretty cool once it's announced. And yeah, nothing that I can reveal yet. I think, yeah. And then also, just to touch on the DAO part of it again, we always encourage our members to, come up with cool ideas, empower them to use the Chimpions platform to move forward in different ways. So sometimes our plans might change. Somebody might have a better idea, but I think we have 3 or 4 or 5 ideas in progress right now that are, pretty cool things. But yeah, unfortunately can't talk about the details of any of them yet.
It looks like a bunch of cool stuff planned for the future, right? Our listeners can definitely look forward to an exciting in 2020. So, can you give us an idea of what is for the Indian players and also what they're for short term or for the long term?
Sorry, did you say that what's on the roadmap?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after our January initiative that created a bunch of new art for our collection, and then so that was our kind of the last piece of our defined roadmap, I guess. And then we recently elected new leads, and we're kind of going through the process of changing over, and then also kind of defining what's next. And I think we're wrapping up the previous initiatives. We have kind of standard things like merch and website updates that are going on, and then also the kind of the 3, 4, 5 initiatives that are. Let me see if I can describe them very vaguely. One of them is an initiative that involves one of the bigger DAOs on Solana and investing. One of them involves potentially new NFTs in certain ways. One of them involves fun stuff for Chimpions to do. One of them involves ecosystem-wide virality, I guess, and interaction. Yeah, they're all kind of being worked on in progress, and just going through the DAO stuff, being a team, having fun. That's kind of our roadmap. Have fun. I should bring up our mission statement, because we more so have a mission statement than we do a roadmap at this point. It's kind of we kind of no real roadmap, I guess, is the answer.
What
Oh gosh.
for in the next years? Unfortunately, that was the last question that we have for today's talk. I think that it is finally the time for us to have the Q&A session. So for those who are interested to ask to our speaker, you can request on our space. Okay, I think this one. This is a bad guy. Hello?
Hey, what's up? This is Teddy Ruxpin, a long time famous fox, and was lucky enough to become a Chimpion. I just wanted to say something. This group is something special. It's kind of what people call a grail NFT in some ways for some of us, but I really, really love everything that Chimpions is about. It's about art. It's about very tight-knit community, and there's something special here. There's something different about the Chimpions. There's a community that we can talk to each other, not about, oh, what am I going to flip, but about who are the new artists that I want to see, what are the collections that I want to be a part of. And I really, really am so lucky to be a part of this group. And I think the Chimpions is the alpha of what NFT groups should try and be. I'm not saying that like other projects aren't good or anything, but there's no hype here. This is about community and art. And that's the real ground roots of NFTs when it comes down to it. So I'm very proud to be a Chimpion. And I like Famous Foxes and the Chimpions, and those two groups are superior to many others, in my opinion. But the thing that separates the Chimpions is that the group is so small that the way that they originally gave whitelists to people that had such a small group, so you could get something that other people didn't have the option to get. But I'm just proud to be a Chimpion, and I love this group.
Hey, thanks, Teddy. Great to hear from you.
All right, that was very great additional points for the Chimpions. Maybe Mini, you want to respond to that first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was saying thanks, Teddy. That's great. I really appreciate you joining and bringing that perspective. I think you're right. I mean,
Mini, are you there?
can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're right. So, yeah, that like the Chimpions are, and one of the reasons. So I after I had been around the ecosystem for a while.
Oh yeah, sorry. That was my connection.
Okay. No worries. Yeah. So just finding home in the Chimpions just felt so much nicer than chasing whitelists and chasing hype and a lot of toxicity in different other groups, or there can be, not always. A lot of groups are great, but when money's on the line, sometimes things get heated, or people get angry. And I think Chimpions does really well at being a nice, friendly place. Yeah, and it's the small number really helps. Everybody knows everybody in there, and yeah, it's easy place to have a voice and to find. Yeah.
In my opinion, there's something that we forget about, which is the community. Everybody is all about hype. It's all about hype, 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 hype. And the Chimpions aren't about hype. They really recognize so many artists in places like the Treehouse, where they allow non-Chimpion holders to come and interact with Chimpions. It's also so special. People come here and strive to get a Chimpion so that they can be a part of this community, because it is so special. It's so fun when you go in there and you see people promoting artists rather than hype. It's so unusual in the space nowadays. Everybody wants to flip things and make quick money. Chimpions aren't about that. They're about art, and that's quality, and that's why I'm a part of the Chimpions.
Let's go. Love it.
All right. Thank you so much, Bad Guy, for your statements. That was great. All right. Is there any questions left from our listener? Maybe if there's no questions left, maybe Mimi, can you share with us less words for our listeners about the Chimpions?
Sure. Yeah. I'd say, yeah. What was I going to say? I mean, I said a lot. So one thing I didn't touch on would be that I think like needs to have the word get out there a little bit more is our the commission month that we just did in January and is ongoing. Is kind of an innovative thing that the Chimpions does with our art, where we have opened up the collection. We've opened up the canon of art that's attached to each NFT so that each holder can actually commission new versions or derivatives of their Chimpion and have them added to the metadata so that their Chimpion can kind of become a gallery of different versions of their Chimpion instead of just the one static version. And each Chimpion has a static version and has an animated version. And if you browse through the listings on Magic Eden, you can actually click on different Chimpions and scroll through the different versions of art that have been given to the Chimpion. One of the best examples of this is the board Chimpion, who's on the floor, or one of the closer to the floor of the Chimpions listed right now. You can go through. It has 7 different pieces of art that have been done to represent that Chimpion, all by different artists. So pretty special thing that we've done. It's kind of like art upgrades that other people do, except for it's art upgrades that you, the holder, are actually doing with the Chimpions together to kind of enrich your Chimpion.
All right. Thank you so much, Mini. Oh, sorry. You can continue.
No, go ahead. That's it. All done.
I know, again, I'm talking probably quite a bit here, but I would say that there's something special about the Chimpions. You know, like I always wanted to have a Chimpion. I couldn't get in at the mint. It was so exclusive. And now I am a Chimpion, and I look at the community around me, and it's filled with artists, which is so unique. I mean, how many other communities are just filled with almost like half or 3/4 artists that are superior artists that are so good? You know, I am super stoked to be a part of this community, and I think people be foolish to not want to join this if they're about art. If you're about art and NFTs in Solana, the Chimpions is the best place to be.
All right. Thank you so much, Becca, for the additional last words about the Chimpions. As we can, I think that this is our end of today's talk. As we can conclude from our discussion, it is very great to have the Chimpions with us for today. We are sending our gratitudes to Minnie as the lead of the Chimpions for being here as our speaker. We would also like to express our appreciation to our listeners for tuning in, and also last but not least, you can all stay connected with us with Token Minds through our official website tokenminds.co, and also our social media channels through Instagram, YouTube, and others. I think this is the end of today's session. Thank you so much, Minnie, and also thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in here. Bye bye. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate being on.
Goodbye.